Fandoms Anonymous.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Fandoms Anonymous. We're here today to do our review of Logan. Man, oh man, oh man, oh man, oh man. First of all, let me go ahead and say, spoiler alert for this movie. This movie was the best X-Men movie that I have ever seen. I mean, yeah, we know it wasn't an X-Men movie. It was a Logan, a Wolverine, James Howlett, Logan Howlett, whatever you want to call them, standalone movie. But it comes from the X-Men universe. We know that. It was set in a Western type style, kind of like movies like Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood. If you big on Westerns, this is that type of movie for you. You guys see I got my new setup here. Hope you guys like it. Got a little Green Lantern going in the background. Got my Doctor Strange, my Legends of Tomorrow, my pop collection. Got a lot of stuff going on back here in the background. So, but let's get into Logan. First of all, if you don't know a lot about the character at the beginning, or don't know a lot about Logan's backstory, you might get a little lost in this movie. But this movie is really for anybody. It's for anybody. You can watch the movie, understand the premise that's going on, and get to the end of it and be satisfied. I was extremely satisfied going into it. I went and caught a matinee earlier today, and my friend and I, we saw it, and we left out of there floored. I mean, it was awesome from beginning to end. If you're big on rated R stuff, this is the movie for you. If you've ever wanted to see a true to form fashion Wolverine Berserker Rage, this is that movie. I mean, he just unleashes. I mean, just the blood and the guts. And it really gets deep down and gritty. It is so gritty. Even X-23, that's a whole nother podcast, a whole nother video to talk about X-23. That little girl was amazing. And we found out that all of the mutants are gone. It was some type of incident that they really still didn't get into details with that happened with Charles Xavier. He's aging now. He's getting older now. So his powers are, in a sense, becoming dangerous. Like, he's beginning to have seizures. And when he has seizures, his mental powers can be physically debilitating to anybody around it. So there was even a scene where he was about to get captured and they had guns on him, and his mental powers just began to resonate through the entire building, and people were literally stuck in motion because they could not move. And if Wolverine had not gotten that antidote to his body fast enough, a lot of people could have died. I believe some people still did die. But to see my man Professor Xavier, and I got my Xavier pop going on here, to see him in one of his last movies, to see, Wolverine, although we'll never ever get to see this suit in the movie. We might ever get to see this suit in the movie. I don't know. I got a little bit of faith for the whole the new X-Men, but that's still kind of convoluted. We probably still won't be able to get to see a suit, because I like how they stuck to form a fashion with Cyclops suit. Do I have a Cyclops around here? I do. I got a Cyclops down there. I believe that there has to be somebody if they're going to continue with these X-Men movies, and if they're going to do Wolverine, they're going to have to get somebody who can really play the role. I believe Hugh Jackman has already said that he wants to be involved with whoever it is that they choose. I feel like that's just right. It's like playing Wolverine now should be like a birthright. It should be the person that's supposed to be in that position. I mean, Hugh Jackman has played Wolverine for the last 17 years. And of course, each one of those 17 years, there wasn't an X-Men movie or a movie that he was in, but he's been that titular character all the way since the 90s, even when he first started reading for the part for Wolverine. But back to the movie, it was a contained. It wasn't everywhere. They even did some jokes to the continuity of the X-Men. I mean, hilarious. If you know what I mean, if you saw those jokes, I mean, there was one, if I can recollect, where Logan had the X-Men comic book. And in this universe, the X-Men comic book was sort of written as a fan adaptation of the stories of the X-Men, kind of like we have to here in our own life. and he had the comic book, and he said it's just a bunch of guys that just got together and started writing stuff, and it turned out a crap. And I was like, oh, and if that wasn't geared towards the X-Men continuity or the X-Men movies, whatever, but that's what I took it as, and it was, to me, it was hilarious. Let's talk about Professor Xavier. I want to get back to it because it was kind of disheartening to see him in his days, that his last days, and how he, you know, was dealing with things. He had become the kooky old man with powers, and it was kind of sad. This movie was very emotional. If you took a woman during that time of the month to this movie, she would probably cry towards the end. You know, it was a real deal deep emotional movie. We finally got to see Wolverine in a vulnerable place. But speaking of X-23, there were also some other children from the experiments that they were using from the organisms or cells that were left over from the original mutants. And what they were doing was creating new mutants, creating them inside of a lab rather than them being birthed by natural birth. And the reason that there were no more natural birth mutants is because they released something into the food. And, you know, these companies had taken over, companies that produced sugar and corn syrup and things like that that are in our everyday foods. And it got to the point where it started getting into people's bodies, and not necessarily killing them, but let's just say if they had the mutagen in their DNA or down their bloodline, and maybe they had two people got together and had a baby, and if they originally had the mutagen in their bloodline, that baby could have become a mutant, but because of what was in the food and the water and whatever it is that they were polluting that antidote in, it was killing that mutagen or that chromosome that could have caused your child to become a mutant. So they decided to take the DNA or cells of original mutants, including Logan, and create mutants to benefit themselves as, in a sense, soldiers. So it was kind of weird to see these kids, and I don't know if they're going to do a spin-off movie with these kids. They probably won't. This will probably be the last time you ever see them. But these were just children with mutant powers who were generated, in a sense, who were created in a lab. Not the kids created themselves. They didn't create the children. The children were regularly birthed, but they enhanced them with the cells of these original mutants. So that was kind of interesting to see. But overall, you know, we even get to the X-24, which was somebody that they actually modeled and created with the DNA of Logan, who was really one of the only ones that can give Logan a run for his money. We get to a state where we see a vulnerable Logan, and his healing factor has slowed down. Normally he gets a scratch, it heals right up, but he still had gash wounds days later. He would have to sleep for days just to fully regenerate, and even at that time he wasn't all the way full. He was walking with a real bad limp, and it was hard to watch. You know, we know that this is the old man Logan storyline, but overall for me it was hard to watch. You know, but I salute Hugh Jackman. I salute Patrick Stewart. Patrick Stewart even hinted that he might go on the Legion TV show, because if you know the Legion show, it's modeled after Charles Xavier's son. So we don't know if this will be the last time we see Xavier. We don't know if this will be the last time that we see Logan or Hugh Jackman or Patrick Stewart in any other type of X-Men property. But I have a feeling that, I personally have a feeling that it might not be the last. So other than that, guys, that's my review of Logan. I really, truly enjoyed it. If you don't know who we are, we're Fandoms Anonymous. That's FANDOMS ANONYMOUS. You can follow us all over social media. We're on Facebook at Fandoms Anonymous. We're on Instagram at Fandoms_Anonymous17. We're on Twitter at Anonymous_Fan17. We're on Facebook. We have our page and our group. I think I mentioned that already. But it's Fandoms Anonymous page, Fandoms Anonymous group. Please go on YouTube and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video. We even have some other videos. We got some the new Fandom Talk episode for this week. Me and Jeremy, we got down and talked about the hot topics, including the Inhumans, including David Harbour supposedly up and running to play Cable in Deadpool 2. We even talked about the Deadpool 2 promo that came out in front of Logan. So if you saw that, please tune in to Fandom Talk. If you haven't already, check out my interview with Jason David Frank, the original Green Power Ranger from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. That's on this channel as well. I also did an interview with the Brown Ranger cosplay, Luis Valdez out of Delaware. So we talked about his cosplay, how you can get started doing cosplay, and that's here as well. So check out these videos, subscribe, like, comment, share, like, poke, click the double tap on the heart. Whatever you do it on these social medias, do it on our page. Again, we thank you for joining us. Thank you for the support. We're 2 months in now. We're already at 1,200 views on YouTube at 2 months in. So let's take some of that momentum and build up that Instagram page. Let's take some of that momentum and let's build up the Facebook group. So guys, come on in and join us. This is the place where you can do anything and everything in the world of fandom. We're Fandoms Anonymous. Have a good one.